Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ari Berman. I have been the medical director for Gorham House for the past 7.5 years. Carol Talbot and I work for Southern Maine Geriatric Associates and act as the primary care providers to most of the residents at Gorham House. Today, I am here to talk to you about the COVID vaccine. Now, first, I must say I miss Gorham House right now. My friends, my colleagues, my patients, their families. However, I am knee-deep in a massive COVID outbreak at my other facility in Saco called Seal Rock. And unfortunately, the outbreak continues to grow despite all measures, and I will likely be absent for the next 3 weeks as well. I am always available should questions develop after this video. I'm sure that your supervisor or the executive team has my contact information, and you can feel free to ask them should anything come up. I did feel some sense of hope today. My left arm is a little sore. I was fortunate enough to get the COVID vaccine at St. Mary's Hospital in Lewiston. Now, I haven't turned into a frog yet, which I think is a good sign. I am hoping for a severe side effect of fatigue, as I've had a lot of trouble sleeping over the last few weeks, and I expect to have quite a few more sleepless nights until this COVID is complete. Anyway, that's a different story. Now let's just think about vaccines in general for a minute. Now, from a public health perspective, I consider the vaccine the greatest technological innovation of all time. Now just think about smallpox alone. Between 1900 and 1979, 300 million people died. It's now eliminated, as has been polio. And the morbidity related to many other diseases, diphtheria, Haemophilus influenza, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, mumps, measles, rubella, pertussis, pneumococcus, chickenpox, shingles, have all been greatly reduced. Truly, from a public health perspective, aside from clean water, sanitation, and the development of antibiotics, vaccines can be considered one of the world's great achievements. Now we're here to talk about the COVID vaccine. Now I think we can all agree that this virus, of which our immune system has never before seen, has ravaged the United States and the world with a particular target on the frail elderly. Now, in the United States alone, there have been 800,000 nursing home patients infected and 100,000 deaths. There's also been hundreds of thousands of healthcare workers who've suffered the consequences of being infected with COVID. Now, as a community of healthcare providers and individuals, it is our responsibility to do everything we can in our power to protect our community, ourselves, and of course, our residents. And we're very fortunate that we have this vaccine. It's very exciting. Now, I know there's a lot of questions about this vaccine. I know many of you are fearful or hesitant to get the vaccine. You need more information. You need a trusted source. And I understand. You don't trust Big Pharma, the government. You don't understand the disease. You have trouble believing that a vaccine could be produced so quickly and be safe, both in the short term and in the long term. Can this vaccine give you coronavirus? Now, traditionally, vaccines have either been live attenuated viruses, inactivated dead viruses, or purified protein derivatives of the virus. It's all meant to trigger an antibody or immune response should your body actually be exposed to the eventual bacteria or virus in question. Now, previously, viruses have been grown in animal eggs. Now, there's a new technology which is developed quite differently. Now, this technology has been in the laboratory for several decades. It has only come into the prime time recently, but they've been using mRNA vaccines to develop a vaccine against the original SARS as well as Ebola. In addition, it's used in the field of immuno-oncology, where there's blossoming treatments of cancer which specifically target cancer cells. Now, an mRNA vaccine is developed in a laboratory. It doesn't use animal products or eggs to grow it in. It doesn't have the typical preservatives. It's basically composed of mRNA, which is a genetic code or genetic material, and lipid proteins, both of which are natural to the body. It does not integrate into your DNA. It is much less likely to trigger an immediate anaphylactic response than, say, a typical vaccine, which is also rare, but it has happened. Now, as I said, mRNA, it is a genetic code. It works by entering into the cell. It will eventually be encoded into a protein which mimics the protein found on the coronavirus. This protein is otherwise known as an antigen. So when the body recognizes this protein, it will develop an antibody response. So should you ever actually become exposed to coronavirus, your body will be ready with antibodies and an immune response ready to kill and destroy this virus. This technology is actually adaptable, and it's been, as you can see, it has been made fairly quickly so that when this virus mutates, which it will, as all viruses do, a new vaccine can be made targeting a new protein. As I said, this vaccine will not alter your DNA. Now, historically, most side effects to vaccines have occurred in the first 6 weeks. And both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, which both use mRNA, have been studied in 30 to 50,000 people with an observation period of at least 8 weeks. I would say that safety was the number one determinant of how this vaccine eventually got approved by the FDA. It wasn't the efficacy, the success rate, or any political motive. Safety was first. The same processes to determine safety were used in previous vaccines that are being used today. I have full faith that the FDA reviewed all pertinent information and has approved this vaccine, and it is safe to be given for all of us. It has been shown to be 95% effective against COVID. Of 100,000 patients that this was given to, there was only one severe case of COVID. That's remarkable compared to what we're seeing right now. Now, at present, there are 2 doses of vaccine which are needed. I got my first dose today. I will probably get 50% immune response in 2 weeks. The second dose will be given 3 weeks from today. 2 weeks from then, which is 5 weeks from today, I should be at peak immune response. Now, as I said, this virus cannot give you coronavirus. It's not a live virus. But there are side effects which may make you feel like you have the flu. So that is probably your body making an immune response. And that's what a lot of times makes you feel sick. So some of the more common symptoms will include soreness at the muscle site. You can also develop fever, myalgias, which are basically body aches, muscle aches, fatigue. Now, in Europe, there were 2 people that were said to have an anaphylactic reaction of the 100,000 people given the vaccine. As a result, each vaccination station will be equipped with people who can recognize anaphylaxis, as well as treat it with an EpiPen and Benadryl. This is a highly treatable condition and is very unlikely to occur. Now, if you are a person who develops or has developed anaphylaxis to anything in the past, you should definitely talk to your provider whether or not this is a safe vaccine for you. I would also be happy to talk to you about it. So if you have developed anaphylaxis to food or certain scents or smells, medications, injectables, let me know or let your primary care providers know, and we can talk about further whether or not this vaccine is safe. There have not been a lot of anybody who has been pregnant or lactating in the studies, so it is not known whether or not it is safe for pregnant or lactating women. That being said, it is assumed to be safe. However, anybody who is pregnant or lactating should definitely discuss the risks and benefits with their OBGYN physician. With regards to patients who are severely immunocompromised, such as those who have HIV or other immune compromising conditions, for instance, active leukemia, it would be important to discuss the safety of the vaccine with your primary care infectious disease physician or your oncologist. Now, it is very clear that our patient population who have frailty or other chronic organ disease, such as heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, diabetes, dementia, would greatly benefit from this vaccine. Now, after the vaccination, you will still need to wear a mask. You'll still need to wear a mask in Gorham House and in the community. Life will not immediately change for us, and we will not allow families immediately to come into Gorham House. However, have faith. If we all do this together, our lives will come back to normal. It will take a community, but we can get there, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, as I said at the beginning, I would be more than happy to discuss this with you at any time. I wish you a happy holidays. Thank you.